The first part of this tutorial walks through the steps to calculate your initial MWQP. The second part will walk through the steps to calculate your annual MWQP. Use the link below to skip to part 2 of the tutorial. Part 1. Calculating your initial MWQP. After you've collected the correct number of samples and received microbial lab values for your water sources, you may add each lab result to the app. Note that all lab results are not needed at once. You may add each value to the app as you receive them, since the app saves your data in your personal and encrypted user account. Begin by adding a new water source or select a current water source from the list. Next, add sample information into each field, including sample collection date, sample ID, sample stage initial, and colony forming units, CFU, or most probable number, which is MPN. Note that you must enter at least a value of 1 in the field for CFU/MPN, even if the lab reported 0 E. coli for your water source. Next, you may add notes for the water source as needed. This step is optional. Now you may click Add. Each added sample will appear by date in the table at the top of the screen. You may continue adding samples until you have entered the appropriate number of samples for your water source type. You may also return to the app later to add additional samples as needed. The final step is to click the MWQP Results button located at the bottom of the screen. On the next screen, review each table to determine your geometric mean, statistical threshold value, and compliance with Produce Safety Rule requirements. Part 2. Calculating your annual MWQP. Following the establishment of your initial MWQP within AgWater app, you may update your annual MWQP. You must follow PSR requirements for the correct number of samples depending on your water source type. That means 4 annual samples for surface water sources and 1 annual sample for groundwater sources. Once annual lab results are received from a water testing lab, begin by selecting View Edit next to the correct water source from the list. On the next screen, fill in each field with the appropriate sampling information. For sample stage, make sure to select Annual instead of Initial. Finally, click the MWQP Results button at the bottom of the screen. Your updated MWQP will be automatically compared to the PSR criteria in Tables 2 and 3 on the following screen. Table 3 automatically calculates if your current or updated MWQP meets PSR microbial quality criteria and if you need to apply a time interval between last irrigation and harvest. When using this app feature, it is important to note that the results screen will calculate an MWQP regardless of how many samples you've entered for a single water source. It is up to the user to add the correct number of samples to the app.